Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. And just like any other day, I got several great clips for you, some breaking news, some information that everybody needs to know if you haven't heard it already, and something funny at the end, something that everybody needs to hear. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Funny at the end is this clip you're seeing in front of you. You got to stick around to the end to watch it, or fast forward if you like to cheat. But at any rate, this is the history of the Democrat Party done with AI, and it is awesome. But more than that, this is why we should not give the Democrats no slack when it comes to gerrymandering, kicking out the illegals, arresting the criminals, getting rid of mail-in ballots, and the voting machines. Got all that for you here on this episode, folks, so stick around. It's going to be a good one. Yes, folks, the last video of the day is why we must do what we are in process of fixing to do. Trump's fixing to lay the hammer on him with several things he said in the last couple of days, including trying to broker world peace. Can you believe he got 7 world leaders to show up on a minute's notice, including NATO, in order to try to broker peace with Zelensky and Putin? Probably going to call Putin back to town. He done had a phone call with him just minutes ago while he was in the middle of this meeting with all the European leaders. And so I'm watching my my Gateway Pundit and my Daily Mail over here to see, as soon as we find out, if the Texas quorum is not just back in session, but being able to be voted on these districts that we want here in Texas. A lot going on, folks, so we are trying to keep up, trying to keep you apprised. And there's even a new gerrymandering map out there that has been thrown out there. The Democrats want to play hardball, want to push for California's going to redistrict as well. And we may need to squeeze a few more out here in Texas while we got the opportunity. That's what's going on, folks. Crazy week for politics. If you skip a day in politics, you've missed a lot. I can go through the Gateway Pundit, and there's actually about 20 articles a day, and about 15 of them are actually relevant. It's just, it's amazing how many people are getting arrested. Not so much the politicians yet. They're in the indictment phase, the subpoena phase. We ain't got there with them yet, but that's coming too. It says developing. Comer discloses some details from Bill Barr's deposition related to Epstein investigation. Now, as of here immediately, the DOJ is giving the Oversight Committee, including James Comer, all of this information they have on Epstein up to this point. That way they can corroborate information with the Congress can corroborate information in order to ask the right question to these 12 or 13 dirty dozen, Hillary Clinton, Bill Barr, Bill Clinton, Merrick Garland. There's a bunch of them on the list. You know who I'm talking about, folks. They're going to all have to be, they're all being subpoenaed and going to have to speak before the Oversight Committee, so they're now getting their ducks in a row. But we've got James Comer here telling us how it went with Mr. Bill Barr, who I cannot stand. He was part of the problem. It says, we're working closely with the Justice Department to obtain all documents related to the Epstein investigation. He said he expects to receive the rest of the documents very soon. Okay. And right here, former Trump AG Bill Barr arrives at closed-door interview for deposition.
What's the message
There's the first one
for the committee today? Was your Department of Justice straight with Americans about everything about Jeffrey Epstein?
He's not answering no question, folks. Yes, folks, what we got here is, this is House Oversight Committee James Comer later told reporters that Bill Barr testified that he was never seen anything in the Epstein documents that would implicate President Trump. Well, that's good to know. He said that he had, I got to get the goggles out, folks. I'm tired of squinting. Bear with me. Oh, there we go. He said that he had never seen anything that would implicate President Trump in any of this, and that he believed that if there had been anything pertaining to President Trump, with respect to Epstein list that he felt like the Biden administration would have probably have leaked it out. Of course they would have. Comer told reporters while Bill Barr was still behind closed doors testifying. Comer also told reporters he expects to obtain all the documents related to the Epstein investigation soon. Now, hopefully they will ask Bill Barr the right questions. Why did he play I see nothing with the 2020 election? Why didn't he investigate so many people in the deep state that were working against Trump? Oh, because he's part of the problem? Him and Pompeo and Pence. That was the three stooges around Trump. Did not help his candidacy, not one bit. That's just the facts. It says, just in, Texas Democrats have caved and returning to Texas after the 2-week walkout, clearing a path for the GOP to secure the redistricting map. I love it. I love it. What do you think about that, folks? It's going to get done. I think they may be locking them in the building at this point. Oh, we know about the walkout. We don't want to hear that. Okay, the Democrats claim they're ending the standoff due to California Governor Gavin Newsom's announcement on November referendum to redraw district lines in his state. So they've got a plan, potentially handing Democrats up to 5 more congressional seats to offset the Texas effort. However, early polling from Politico Century Possible Lab shows that 36% of the state voters support the change, so it may not happen. 36% of the vote, people that were polled, want it to happen. That means 36% of the state that was being polled were Democrats. Though most are returning, one Democrat has said she will continue to avoid the state. I made a commitment to my district that I will fight until the end to keep our representatives intact, and I'm staying true to my word, says Aisha Davis. Somebody trying to get some attention. Never heard of her. Now maybe she'll get her name out there. The last holdout. Big deal. Alright, folks. It gets even better, though. This is where we're at now, and this is why I really needed my goggles. Trump calls on legislative map to pass the map in order to counter the gerrymandering and large populations of illegal aliens in California, Illinois, and the blue states. This is the way. Now let me read this to you. This is new. Good stuff. Good stuff. It says Republican state legislators in the great state of Texas, which I love and won big 3 times, including with a 6.4 million vote. Let me do that again. Republican state legislators in the great state of Texas, which I love and won big 3 times, including with a 6.4 million votes in 2024, by far the most votes in history, just introduced a new bill for the one big beautiful congressional map. Thank you to Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Speaker Justin Burrows, Speaker of the House, Texas Legislature for great, and the Texas Legislature for the great work. It is wonderful to see the Republicans everywhere standing up to save our country. It was one of the most popular initiatives I have ever supported. Republicans love watching us fight for a great cause. Please pass this map ASAP. Thank you to Texas. And look at this redistricting map. God, look at the blue dots. That's great. That's the way it should be done right there. See, they run us out of Massachusetts. Not the Republicans, but the Republican districts. So Massachusetts has none. Connecticut only has a couple. Illinois looks like it's got snakes running through it in order to suck up all the cities for the Democrats. It's every state does it, and for the most part, the Republicans have never been aggressive at being in the gerrymandering game, although it is illegal every 10 years due to the census. But like Trump said, the census this time was a flop. If the real numbers come out, after you take the illegals off the voter rolls, the census would be null and void, and we would have to go to a whole nother setup. So I don't know how that would work, but it's definitely been discussed. And for future reference, illegals shouldn't be allowed to vote in census or be counted in a census. Just my opinion. All right, folks, moving right along. Got a funny one at the end for you. It's the Epitome of the history of the Democrat Party, brought to you by AI. It's the good stuff. Now, this is my favorite thing to hear all day. This is what I voted for right here. Breaking: President Trump says he is preparing an executive order to ban mail-in ballots. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's fraud, and it's time for Republicans to get tough and stop it. It's the only way Democrats can get elected. They're corrupt and 10 times more expensive than the regular ballots. And he also said, let's get rid of the machines. That's what I want to hear.
Pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important?
Well, that's a very off-topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, but most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said, the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things, and now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad, I hate to take your time with this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. Sorry. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. You know, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me, they asked me for my license plate, for identification. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. But it's very hard to cheat with mail-in voting. As you know what happens in California, it's so corrupt, where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected.
You know, what Trump could do is he could cancel the contracts with Dominion, Smartmatic, and any other voting machine other than just possibly the tabulators that he needs to get rid of. It may not even need the tabulators at this point. May just go back to human count. But I think maybe the tabulators are needed, but not the voting machines. I don't like voting on an iPad. That just doesn't feel safe to me. And I'm glad that he's going to do this. He can executive order, and I heard he was going to do it, executive order the mail-in ballot thing null and void, which would be awesome if we can force the states to run it that way, especially before 2026, because then the Democrats will really have a bad day. But also the possibility of them cheating comes way, way, way down. And so I'm just glad to hear that the machines that are manipulatable hopefully will go. Hopefully he can just kill their contracts. And I know it's the states that spend the money on the contracts, but the state gets the money from the government for the most part. So if we don't give the states the money to spend on the machines, I think Trump can nip it in the bud, or just decide those two companies don't need to be here in America, considering all the problems they've had. And hopefully YouTube will get over this, but that's the way I feel about it. We don't need those companies. No, we don't. Dumb onion, as people were calling it back in the day, to keep from getting a channel struck. Now, I guess you can talk about stolen election, election integrity, and voter fraud and all that stuff. At one time, you couldn't even say those words. Those words right there would cost my channel something. That's just the way it used to be, and thank God it's not as bad anymore, because it's a very common topic now, and I guess there's no way to avoid it at this point. Put my goggles back on, folks. I have got another great statement to read you. This is from Trump's mouth, word from himself about the mail-in votes. This is great news. It says, I'm going to lead the movement. Do you hear that? Lead the movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. And also, while we are at a highly inaccurate, very expensive, seriously controversial voting machines, to which cost 10 times more accurate than a sophisticated watermark paper, which is faster and leaves no doubt at the end of the evening as it to who won, who lost the election. We are now the only country in the world that issues mail-in ballots. All other countries gave it up because of the mass voter fraud encountered. We will begin this effort, which will be strongly opposed by the Democrats because they cheat at levels never seen before, by signing an executive order to help bring our honesty to the 2026 midterms. Remember, the states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting and tabulating the votes. Ooh, I didn't think about it like that. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them to do. There it is. For the good of our country, to do with their horrible radical left policies like open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgenders, and woke for everyone, and so much more. Democrats are virtually unelectable without using their completely disproven mail-in scam. Elections can never be honest with mail-in ballots / voting, and everybody, in particular the Democrats, know this, and I and the Republican Party will fight like hell to bring honesty and integrity back to our elections, to the mail-in ballot hoax, using voting machines that are complete and total disasters must end now. Remember, without fair and honest elections and strong and powerful borders, you don't have a semblance of a country. You don't even have a semblance of a country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. That is one of my favorite. I'm going to bookmark this one, folks. I haven't done that in a while. No, it's not. I'm going to download this one. Copy the link. Give it a heart. And it's over on my page. Yes, folks, this will be my favorite tweet of all time if this Trump makes this come to fruition. Just because this matters to me more than you know. Sure, it matters to all y'all the same way. That's why you're out here listening to these podcasters instead of mainstream media, because you know they lied about the election. Alrighty, folks, getting closer to the funny one. Getting closer. Got a couple more things. I think this one's breaking President Trump to sign an executive order to help eliminate mail-in ballots and voting machines before 2026 elections. He is going to make it happen ASAP. He is not going to F around with it. He thought about it. And you know what brought this on? I mean, Trump had already been wanting to do this anyway. Was probably already working towards it. But when Vladimir Putin the other day told Trump something that he's told us 100 times, that the Ukraine-Russia war would have never happened if he wasn't president. Would have never happened if he was president. I know you've heard this from Trump. It's one of the many things he brags about. Well, Vladimir Putin said those very words, which confirmed what Trump said is true. Yeah, if Biden wasn't in there, this wasn't necessary. And then Putin goes as far as to say that 2020 was rigged, and it's because of mail-in ballots. That's the problem. And ever since then, Trump has been tweeting about it, or should I say dropping truth bombs about it. And that truth bomb I just read to y'all, that's going to be the one that changes the future of the country. So that is a good one to earmark, to bookmark, to remember, to screenshot. This is the beginning of the end for the Democrat Party. Not that they haven't already took it in the teeth for the last 6 months with all the exposure, taking away their Act Blue options to launder money, taking away their USAID funding, which pays for a lot of their protesters and, I guess, rally goers. Yes, folks, we get rid of mail-in ballots, this country will go back to normal. Sanity will come back to, we will get normal people in. We won't get AOCs in there and Jasmine Crockett's in there. People won't vote for that. Well, truth be known, I hear Jasmine Crockett is on her way out after this Texas quorum redistricts. As soon as they redistrict, guess what? We have 38 Texas seats here in Texas, and I think about 28 of them or something, or no, 30. I think 31 of them are Republican, if I remember. I can't remember, but at any rate, don't quote me on that one. But at any rate, the Democrats are fixing to lose several seats during this gerrymandering. At least 5 seats, and Jasmine Crockett and Al Green are both on the ticket to go. I love it. I love it. That is the best of news. Yes, folks, we're going to get all the way down here to my favorite video. Let's get it together right here. Here we go. Brilliant, accurate history lesson of the American Democrat Party. Voters beware. Democrats are now unapologetically admitting they are communists. They want power at the expense of freedom of Americans and vote accordingly. Absolutely. Thanks to artificial intelligence, we can now hear from Andrew Jackson, who in 1828 founded the Democrats. Let's look back at their past and present day Democrats to see how they've evolved. And FYI, they were the party of the Klan as well. This is a wild video, folks. I've got to learn how to make these with AI myself, because I could come up with a couple of good ones as well. All right, we're going to have to figure that out. That may be in future videos when I do get a little better at this AI stuff. But whoever made this, whoever ordered this up, great job. Here it is.
What up, America? It's Andrew Jackson, that guy you roll up to hit some powder. I founded the Democrat Party and chose the jackass as our mascot. Now, as you can probably tell, times have changed a bit from the party back in my day, and present-day Democrats will come to hate me, but that's your problem. Jackson started the Democrat Party to appeal to the common man. Democrats today sometimes give him credit for that, but only after calling him an evil white bigot. Needless to say, the party started off pretty sketchy by today's standards. We were by far the pro-slavery party all the way through the Civil War.
After the war, we cleaned up our act and supported the North's Reconstruction efforts. Totally kidding, we doubled down on racism and became the party of the Klan. But seriously, we didn't have much of a platform after the war, except Jim Crow, but that was until our boy came in hot on his rollerblades.
Then came the Depression. People lost trust in markets, so I wheeled in to drastically expand communism across the country, and Democrats been hooked ever since. Up until this point, blacks had always voted Republican, as they were the party that freed the slaves. But after FDR's New Deal, blacks swung 75% Democrat. This was a complete realignment, not because of civil rights, but because of economics. All while the Democrats were still the party of the Klan, and their stronghold was the South. We pushed segregation throughout the South and filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act for 75 days. It wasn't until Republicans stepped up and found even more votes to pass the bill. So ask yourself, how are Democrats seen as the party of the civil rights? Well, it's because
Democrats are very persuasive. But again, it ultimately boils down to economic incentives. Once Democrats realize the power of government spending and handouts, you can appeal to any voter group and lock them in.
1, 2, 3.
Gays for Palestine.
Good luck with that. So anyway, to sum it all up, my party has changed a shit ton, but it's not because of the mythical party switch. Democrats controlled the South all the way through the 1990s. But they did adopt new policies like massive social spending and welfare programs that allowed them to appeal to more diverse voting groups.
Did y'all catch that in there?
What up, America?
That was Monica Lewinsky coming out of the Oval Office, wiping her mouth before she told her little spiel. Too good, folks. I just love that video because it's accurate. Now I've got to figure out how to get AI to make me a video about something similar. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed, or at least was a little informed. Give me a thumbs up if you were. If you stuck around to the end, let me know in the comments section. Over and out. Have a good one.